Yes, yes. Hey.
Anything I'm saying, I say it respectfully. How come you never say a word and you're right next to me? But full of paragraph and that you're texting me. Professor X, tryna read your mind is stressing me. I know that there's things that you've been through. So I might approach this what you be into. On the social media be influential. Lot of folks on there ain't dealing with their mental. Haven't waited so long, now I'm at the boiling point. Cause when you get mad, you act like you don't know the boy. Got me running around in circles up a steep hill. One request, you know the drill. Just keep it real. Don't play no mind games with me, girl. Why don't you go here? Just keep it real. Instead of beating around the bush, let me know what's the deal. Just keep it real. Too grown for silent treatment.
Yeah.
Girl, express how you feel.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. We are back.
Oh, we live.
Yes, we live.
All right, all right.
I have Ryuu Richy here with me today.
Yes, sir.
Artist in every way. I've had the pleasure. I've been listening to the Out and About. I'm like, it put me in a very happy place. I will say that.
Good.
Like it was something that you can't bump this and be sad and just
No.
you can't bump.
Even
through
there's some sad songs in there that
Yep.
just wants to Bob Marley says when music hits you, you feel no pain.
You feel no, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
but it felt good, and that was one of the things I wanted to say when we got on the show. I was like, "Yo, this whole thing feels really good." Like I was
Appreciate
bumping
that.
it. I walked bumping it in the cold, and I forgot I was cold until I got to my destination because I was, when you just in something and bumping it, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good vibe.
The vibes hit you.
And that's why I just played that song too, because when I was playing it through, I had to rewind that one, and I was like, oh yeah, this one is probably my favorite on here right now.
Hey.
Right now, when you going through, yeah,
It switches up sometimes
Yeah.
depending on like one will stick out the most one
Yeah.
day, and then you run through it back and be like, yo, this one by two. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. Shout out to the homie Sav. He got the second verse on that joint.
Hey.
Shout out to Dope Wizard Beats. Yeah, the homie. He the one. Did he make that beat? I might be shouting out the wrong person. I think it might have been any vibe. My apologies, but do shout out to Dope Wizard because he always sending me stuff the same way Mustard be sending Kendrick stuff. So
That's dope.
we gonna catch another one.
Is that one of the producers that you lock in mainly with? Or?
Yeah, as of recent, I found him 2023
Okay.
in the summertime. Like I just got hip to Afro swing as a genre.
Okay, wait, what's the difference? You
So-
just threw me for a loop. Hold
Yeah.
on.
So you got dancehall, right? And then you got afrobeats, right? And then you have places in the UK like Brixton
Okay.
where Jamaicans and Nigerians, Africans, they
Yeah.
all like meet and blend with the the British people, and they just it becomes like a melting pot. So you got like elements of Afrobeats and dancehall blended into one, and that's pretty much Afro swing in a nutshell.
Wait. So when we take like Afro beats,
Mm-hmm.
like what's the difference when it comes to the dance hall type of songs? Like what's that sound different? Because I was
I'm
thinking
glad
about
you
this the
asked.
other day. Yeah. What? Yeah.
I'm glad you asked because all right, so dancehall.
Yeah.
When you think dancehall, the best way to put it all in perspective is to think of the artist, right?
Okay.
Dancehall is a Jamaican genre.
Okay.
And then Afro beats, that's African centered. So whether it's Nigeria, Ghana, Joburg, you know what I mean?
okay.
So
Okay.
that's one. Location, that's the main thing that separates them. Two, you have the language, the lingo. Now, technically, Patois is not a language because
Yeah.
it's English.
Yeah.
People say it's a dialect or whatever. I'm not no specialist, but
Yeah.
Patois, that's what you'll hear on a dancehall song. So when you think of Elephant Man, when you think of Beanie Man, when you
Yeah.
hear Vibes Cartel, Popcorn, like that's dancehall.
Okay.
Right? Now when you think Afro beats, that's Burna Boy, Wizkid,
Gotcha.
Davido, you know what I mean? Like Rema. Like
But is there like a difference inside something like the way the beat goes sometimes?
Yes.
Like what's that difference?
Absolutely. So, especially like in recent years, because dancehall, like modern dancehall, has taken like, has branched off into like
more trap drums
Yeah.
added into it, whereas like Afrobeats is more
Stays close to
they
that
they
home
really
base
use
of,
like instrument
Steel
sounds. So
drum.
you'll hear like a lot of you'll hear that.
Okay.
You'll hear like natural sounding drums, flutes, strings, and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
very instrument, heavy.
Okay.
And then dancehall can be that, but the patterns are normally different. So, all right. So, for example, you got, I'm thinking of a song right now about Wizkid and Black Jersey. So,
Yeah.
like it usually has like that kind of pattern.
Yeah.
There's different types of Afrobeats that don't, and it branches off. It's very diverse. But then dancehall, it's like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
like that's a specific rhythm I'm thinking of. But like like if you were to think of modern dancehall right now, like somebody like DJ Mac that's doing it big, you got like boom, ka, ka, boom, ka, ka, boom, ka. Boom. It's like
So
like that.
that's why I was really wondering. I'm like, how do I separate these? Because you talking about a whole different. You talking about a merge, like you said, swing.
Yeah, Afro swing. So
Okay, explain now. Yeah.
now the merge of it, you'll have like kind of like the drum pattern of a dancehall beat, but you'll have like it like instruments that are like Afrocentric.
Okay. Okay.
And then a lot of times it won't just be Jamaican artists that's on it, because the UK is they're multiplied the same way. So you have Jamaican people over there and you have African people over there. So they're
all doing
you'll hear an African artist on an Afro swing beat, or you can hear somebody that's like speaking like British English, or I guess that's proper English, because
we them, but
yeah. So you'll hear them, or you'll hear somebody patois, do it on the beat, and that's So for example, there was a playlist I found on Apple Music, and people on there was like Young T and Bugsy, Western. Who else?
And it's how they
these are like artists that's like based out there in the UK, and NSG, that's a band, and it's a bunch of dudes in that group, and those are the people like you'll hear. Let's see, boom, boom, ticka, boom, boom, ticka, boom, like like a lot of the pattern will be a lot like that. So it's, if we talk like dancehall is so it's
intricate.
It's one of the most important genres in the world.
Yeah,
because it created hip hop.
Yeah,
it created reggaeton. It created dembow. It created Afro swing. And it, I feel like, has a big influence on where Afrobeats is right now. Because if you look at people like Wizkid and Burna Boy, they're in their songs and the lyrics, they're like, the girl and like they're using patois in their stuff. You know what I mean? So like and if you look at the interviews, they'll big up people like Beanie, they'll big up people like Cartel and stuff like that. Yeah. So
that sound, that's
just, so are
you in that same, like who do you say your influences are? Because being in that multi-dimensional framework of, it's like hip hop, and you got a lot of mix going on in there that's blended, like, so. It
took a minute to figure out like the perfect, I guess you say, like, recipe.
Yeah.
Because for a good hot minute, I was scared of being boxed in, because I'm like, hey, I could rap, but I could also like sing a good melody sometimes, or I can hit you with some Spanish stuff, But every time people was coming to me, like in the earlier stages, they was like, yo, you Jamaican, right? Do that Jamaican-ish. And I'm like, do that Jamaican. It's like, what?
Hey, yo.
They just expect to be like, hey, man, like, and it's like, no,
what's wrong with people, yo?
Man, it used to get on my nerves. I'm like, yo, you Jamaican, right? Do that Jamaican-ish. They're like, yo, they'll pick a beat off of YouTube, and it'll be like the most like corniest.
Yeah.
It'll sound like, you know, like them beats that have them like vocals in the background, just
It's
just
gummy.
like mad,
Yeah.
and it'll have like a very plain drum pattern, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I see what you want,
I see what you want.
and what I can do will not be best displayed on something like this.
Yes, yes.
Let me pick the beat.
Yes.
You know. And are you sure that's what you want to do? I could do something else.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, I felt like I was being treated like a one-trick pony. So I was like, let me show everybody my diversity. And then eventually, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
What I can do is what's needed, and
Yeah.
it's what's missing right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, all right, let me stick to it. And that epiphany came 2023. I was in Jamaica. I was listening to this Afro swing playlist on Apple Music. And, you know, when I'm in Jamaica, I just get a different vibe. Just so much inspiration hit me. I don't got to wake up to an alarm.
Yep.
You know, I wake up when nature wakes me up. Or if I'm in the countryside, the rooster then wake me up. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just sit there and I listen to beats and I write. And I just was like, yo, give me something to dancehall, Afro swing. Like, this is what I want. And I just was going through BeatStars, found some stuff, and wrote Unavailable.
Yeah.
I wrote Anyway. I wrote, what else? I wrote Hit. And I wrote Smooth, all in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I had like this already recorded, and I was mixing it out there while writing these songs. And I was only out there for like 2 weeks. Came home, BET Awards, Busta Rhymes gets nominated. Well, no, he wins the award.
Yeah.
This is like a lifetime achievement. And he bigs up Kool Herc.
Okay.
And, you know, as a hip-hop fan, you know Kool Herc is the
big honcho.
The godfather of hip-hop.
Yeah.
You know? And he makes it clear that, yo, he's a yard man. Like,
yeah,
fresh out of Kingston, you know,
yep.
Kingston to the Bronx. So, and then he brings up Cartel, says free him, you know. And then when he goes into his performance, he brings out Spice, Skilly Bang, Cut Your Ranks. I think Dexter Daps came out too. All right, and he had Kool Herc and Cartel in the background.
Yeah.
And it just became like a super Jamaican-centric, you know, like segment real quick, and they haven't done that in years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, nah. Rewrote Smooth, because what I originally wrote was corny as hell.
Wait, when you say corny, what you mean?
It was corny. Like, one of the bars was like, I compared a girl to like ice cream or something like, it's just, and just compared it in color.
Yeah.
Not even like, cause there's some smooth ways you get away with that. You talk about like what you would do to ice cream cone, you know. But nah, I compared like to the color ice cream. I'm just like, yo, this is corny. Let me do something else.
That's really important, because it's a lot of artists who will listen to something and be like, nah, this is fine. But like, to listen to your stuff and be like, nah, I gotta redo this. Like,
trust me, I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
So I'll over dissect, look at them like, all right, I could pronounce this better. I could enunciate this better. Say this differently. This don't sound mixed properly.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? I'm always like that when it comes to my stuff.
How many times are you like going through a record? Like, how long is it taking you to do a record because of your critiques on yourself?
It depends on the song. Sometimes I have a song and this is before I started mixing myself.
Yeah.
I had a song like that had like 8 versions from the engineer. Where
Okay.
I'm like, yo, like tweak this. We need to fix this. Adjust this. Send it back. I'm like, okay, all right. Now this is the new set of stuff that needs to be worked on. So there was like 7 different versions of that song before we got to the 8th one. I'm like, all right, this is it. You know. And I'm realizing I didn't answer the question before about my style.
Yeah.
So long story short, run it back.
Run it back.
Right. So when I had that epiphany, I was like, yo,
yeah,
they haven't done this like a Jamaican thing on BET Awards in a good minute. We haven't, and everything has been lumped up in the afrobeats.
Yep.
Everything, and if you hear anything that when Byron Messiah came out, right? That's the guy that did the Taliban song, the da da da.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right. So when they came out, they was like, "Oh, this is afrobeats." I'm like, "What?" But it's because nobody know nothing else.
But that's why I asked too, because the separation, it's like, I remember one time I'm asking my dad, I'm like, what's the difference between soca and calypso? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just be like, all right, yo, like, all right, I hear the name, but what's the difference? So, yeah.
So it was one of them things. So I'm like, yo, like Jamaican presence is really like lacking in the industry right now. Like there's like, we used to be the go-tos. Like I remember a time where if there was a hot song and a remix was out, Elephant Man was on it. Yep, good to go. Like he was on it, you know what I mean? Or there'd be a hot song that like isn't dancehall. It'd be like R&B or hip hop, and Cartel or Busy Signal would remix it and do it their way, you know.
And the beat be
the beat would be the same, but they're singing in patois. That's what we would call it DJing. DJing, like that's what we would call.
But they had a lot of those remixes where they was like changing up those beats.
Some of them they would change up,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those the rhythm
that too, and you would hear them,
and yeah,
and it would be out.
Yeah,
where it go?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, so
I don't know.
So once that hit, I was like, oh, like there's a lane that's open.
Yeah,
and ain't nobody in it.
Yeah,
as of like right here in Jersey, you know, tri-state, you know, we could say the whole coast, you know, right now, like it's.
I mean, I don't hear it. So
yeah, I mean, so I'm like, yo, like that's what I'm gonna do. So if I do sing, if I do rap, I gotta make sure I put that at the forefront or find a way to blend it in there, as much as possible, and to just bring that back. You know, whether I gotta do it on my back or what, but like. Yeah, so as far as my style goes, to tie it all in together, because it's been a long journey to get to this point.
No, you got to. You gotta get a break.
They gotta get the backstory. Yeah. So as far as my style goes, I would say it's a blend of hip hop and dancehall and R&B. And if you want, you could say Afrobeats, because I do use like a lot of like Afrobeat beats, but I don't know like Yoruba or nothing like that. So
you ain't hitting up.
I'll be doing it in English. Oh no, I do the dances now. So that little thing they be doing, or that move that what's his name? Michael Blackson be hitting when he spit that. I hit all those, but like as far as like the language that they have, like I just, you know, regular English, or I go on there in patois. So it's either or when I do it. So like Unavailable, like that's an Afrobeat. Yeah. You know. What's the song? It's a song we was just playing. Keep It Real. That's more dancehall.
But it's funny because for the average person that's like over here, like we're listening to it, we're like, I don't know the difference between all. That's why I'm really glad you gave that clarification, because even for me, I'm like, like a lot of us Caribbean folks, like, you know what I'm saying? And we're not heavily in our roots. We're like, yo, what's the difference?
The first generation kids, second generation, the culture get lost, man. So that's another thing where it's like, I got to make sure I put this at the forefront. Yeah. And make sure like I let people know like what it is, where it came from, what it has done, and what it can do, you know? Yeah.
One of my questions for you was gonna be like, how has your culture, you know, being Jamaican influenced you? But it's like you already done dive pretty much. You're like, yo, like I felt like the purpose. We needed to bring this back. Like this is I'm guessing this is how like pale people feel when they see the American flag fly and they hear the anthem. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain pride that I get when I see the black, green, and gold. You know what I mean? So I see the Jamaican flag and I'm like, yeah, man, like that. I feel it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like pale people.
So it's one of the things where it's like knowing like that we are a proud people, and to know like we had high heights. And then just out of nowhere, just whoosh, we're just not a thing no more. Like, what happened, you know? So my goal is just to bring back that presence and that pride, you know? Not that, the non-alphabetical pride. What?
Hey, yo.
So, yeah, man. So, to tie it on, you know, hip hop, dancehall, R&B, Afrobeats. It's like Infinity Stones to me. Just all on one, you know. I find a way to blend all of those.
No. That's big. That's deep. He said, nah. That's funny. My bad.
I'll be out of pocket sometimes.
Yeah. We thought we're like so I guess I'll dive into it that way. I'm trying to. So with the name, how'd you come about with your name as well?
All right, so Ryu, RYU, and then another U, as I'd always say at the shows and whatnot. So that translated in Japanese means dragon.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because when I was I was thinking, you know, when back in the day, I remember saying Ryu and Ken. Somebody was like, it's Ryu.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about it, you said that's what I thought about. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it's and even if it's just one U, it's still Ryu.
Yeah.
You know? So and that's something that a lot of people don't know. So when they see me, they're like, oh, that's my boy Ryu.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, no. You know,
That's
like I used to like let it slide, like not care, but then it was like, nah, you gotta like you gotta fix that because if you don't, like it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah.
So I was like,
people.
all right, yeah. I'm trying to find a ways to like bring it up and not make it seem like disrespectful when I do.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But you know, so
yeah.
So it's translated to dragon in Japanese. Now, dragon is like whether they were real or weren't real, they're like my favorite. You can call it animal or creature or whatever. Like I was just like at least like the Asian looking dragons. That's like more serpent like, and they got the four arms,
like on some Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, like that. You know, I don't like the like European looking ones where it's like wavering, where they got the 2 wings and just 2 legs.
The Game of Thrones looking.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm more like the Asian looking ones. So that was always like stuff that I would see. And I'm like, yo, that's cool, but that's not where I got the name from.
Okay.
And I didn't get it from Street Fighter either.
Okay.
I got it from Ninja Gaiden. Right.
You just pulled the whole world. I thought, all right, wait.
I got it from now. I did like Ryu. He was my favorite Street Fighter character. He still is.
Yeah.
But I found out about Ninja Gaiden as a series, like what was that? Nah, that was like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Grandfather died, went to Jamaica for the funeral, was there way longer than I should have been, almost stayed back. Another whole story. But my cousin had a game, it was called Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword on the DS.
Okay.
And it was the coolest thing I've ever played at that point on the DS.
Yeah.
Now, it scratched the hell out the bottom screen because you got to use the stylus and just to do all the movements and slashes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, the main character, his name is Ryuu Hayabusa, right? Or Hayabusa, however they pronounce it. The movie pronounced it one way and then the games pronounced it another way. So I say it both just to be safe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, he's like the coolest thing ever. He's using all these like elemental powers. He scrolls and he slashes. He's killing all these fiends and I'm like, yo, this is cool. So my gamer tag was Ryu the Ninja, but I used to spell it with 1 U.
Okay.
At that time because of him. So like Ryu the Ninja, you know. And over time, like I keep using the game tag, and then I'm like, all right, they want me to put numbers now because somebody else got this name, and I'm like, all right, this don't look so cool. But like I worked with it, right,
for a little bit,
and then like my first rap name was RyuU Richy, but once I get to high school, I'm like, you know what, like
gotta drop the low.
Eventually, I think I heard Jeezy. I don't know if he started doing this at the time, but he was like, yo, man, like I ain't gonna be young forever, so I gotta drop the young and just be G, you know? So I'm like, okay, like that will be a thing when I reach a certain age. Yeah. So let me take the lil now. take it out now.
Drop it now.
So I was like, all right, just Richie. I'm like, there's a bunch of those. Even just in, you got Richie Spice, Richie Stevens, Little Richie, Little Richard. You know, like it's something like, all right, let me figure out how to make,
stand out.
So at first it was so then I was like, okay, let me change my stage name to my gamer tag. But I'm like, I won't do Ryu the Ninja. That's so corny. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, all right, let me just do Ryu. All right. And then somewhere I end up like watching like trailers for, or not trailers, like game, like walkthroughs for Ninja Gaiden. And some character was breaking down Ryu's name in the game. And it was like, yeah, the dragon, the word. And I was like, wait, what? So then I go to Google and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, snap. Ryu means dragon. Yeah. Dragon is Ryu. So I'm like, oh, I was like, yo, this was my favorite name, and now it just became like, and there's no name better. So I'm like, okay, let me do Ryuu Richy, and that was like, oh, when it's actually like Dragon, it's gotta be 2 U's. So I was like, okay, all right, let me add the other U, and then boom, I was like, all right, Ryuu
Came
Richy.
together.
You know, because we was doing everybody got they squads when they first come up in rap. You know, you got ASAP Mob, you got I Future, and whatever. So I had my own little thing.
Okay.
Ours was like, we called ourselves the Clan. Nothing to do with the Ku Klux.
Yeah.
But
that's good though.
it's
That's
because
good.
we was like going with the whole like Japanese theme, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, this the Clan. I'm Ryuu Richy, my homie Judo James.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just giving nicknames to everybody based off of the first letter in their name. So
Okay.
my homeboy Kareem was Karate. You had
Karate.
yeah.
That's tough.
You know, like again, my homie James, his name was Judo. You know,
Okay.
people still call him that because of the clan. You know, the name I gave him. You know,
Yeah.
so it's so mine was Ryuu Richy. So I was like, all right, you know what? That's my stage name.
That's a dope. Yeah, that's a dope. That's a dope. Y'all not rocking with the Clan?
The Clan, yeah, no. We just everybody ain't making music. I'm the only one that really like
Still
like,
in it.
Like as far as the Clan goes. Now we have some people that like we like, you know, inducted in as family, but like as far as like the initial, you know, member groups, like they were just like my friends, and they still are. But I was the one trying to force everybody to do music. Like, yo, like drop this verse, yo, write to this beat, this is the third. And you get to a point you realize like your dreams ain't everybody else's.
Ain't everybody else dreams. So that's important. Wait, talk about segue real quick. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Your dreams ain't everybody else's dreams. The people around you.
Yeah, because I'm
supporting your vision.
Yeah, as long as they support, that's cool. They don't have to necessarily be doing exactly what I do. And that was like a learning curve, because sometimes you'll sit there and wait for people for certain things, and then you like, you know, I'm like very introspective. I'm always like overthinking, overanalyzing stuff like that. I'm like, yo, why won't they write to this beat? Or why
they ain't doing it themselves?
Why when they get to the studio they don't seem like they like recording? Or why like they don't listen to the beat when I send it to them? Or stuff like, you know what I mean? Or something like, yo, like what's and you start to like think, and I'm like, okay, you know what? This might not be
what they want,
the part that they're passionate about. Like it's, and then, you know, you're like, all right, you stop forcing them, and then you just do your own thing, and you'll focus on what you got going on. And then you see that some of them are just more happy to be there to support you than to be at the forefront doing all this stuff. Because this is not easy. No. Like, even what we're doing right now, with, you know, talking to these microphones ain't easy. You know, as we talked off camera, like some people, when the camera's on, they freeze. So it's something I learned, that like it's not for everybody. And if me trying to force everybody did make me like wait a lot for stuff. I'm like, okay, this is a song I want to work on, want to put out, want to put it together, but I'm waiting on this person. I'm waiting on that person. Or I want to do this video, but I'm waiting on this person.
So one thing I always said is that back in the day, because I had similar situation, is that if I knew I didn't have people that I thought I was depending on, I probably would have went a little bit further, because I would have just did the stuff.
Yeah.
Was that a theme then, or
yeah? Shoot, it's
like in reflection.
It's still a thing now sometimes, because like there be times where, like, as comfortably as I am right now, like I am like I guess you could say like an ambivert. Like I can be outgoing, I could be social, meet new people, go places I ain't been before. But a lot of times before I go do that, I'm trying to find every excuse not to do it. Yeah. And I'd rather stay home. You know, they're like, oh yeah, we going to this event. We got this going on. And I'm like, who all gonna be there?
Yeah.
Do they got parking? I don't like places I can't park. they might tow my joint.
That's real though. That's real.
You feel me? And I'll be like, what kind of crowd? They gonna be smoking over there? I just did my hair. I can't wash it for another month. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know, so I'll like try to find every excuse And I'm like, you know, I got work in the morning, or it's been like I ain't take my nap today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at the age where you need that nap in the middle of the day. So I'm like, I ain't get that nap yet. So I'm gonna need somebody to carpool just in case I get too tired on the way home. So I find every excuse not to, but
still push through.
You know, eventually, like some opportunities, I'm like, all right, can't miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta seize it. Or sometimes I'll call like one of the homies and be like, yo, like, there's this going on. And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, nah, just go do it and see what's up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll like tell them like, yo, like I'm about to go do this. You trying to pull up with me? And they roll with me, you know. And that just sometimes like just having like company gives me like the I guess you could say like the confidence to step in those rooms and those
push.
environments and stuff like that, past my own like boundaries and stuff like that. Because you know, I was a very shy person growing up, you know. In church, like in the children's choir, I was like one of the youngest people, and you know, since I'm one of the youngest, everybody's like tall and whatnot, and you put the short people in the front. I used to try to hide in the back behind the tall people, and then eventually they catch on. They start to push me to the front. They're like, "Yeah, you have to stand up in the front. You're short. They gotta see you. Don't you want your mama to see you?" I'm like, "No,
nah, she didn't see me at home."
Yeah, so. Then I started to do stuff. I remember one time they was like, all right, now like we're gonna make way for the children's choir. They about to sing a song, da 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 da. And I'm literally like on some Tom and Jerry stuff, like tiptoeing, and I'm right there by the door.
Yeah.
Right there. And the pastor goes, "Hey Richard, where you think you going?" and the whole church turned around. They're like, and that's when I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom.
I gotta
go. Just to get out of it. Like, you know. So
has church had any influence on your music?
Oh yeah.
I mean, as far as I know, you said choir. I hear a lot of the melodies too. I think that's probably a thing that I don't know if you feel like this. Like, I hope people heard these melodies that I'm hitting on.
I really be hoping that, because I'll sit there and make so much stems and just add. I'm like
these harmonies. I got a lot of harmonies in here. I hope they heard it.
Yeah, I will sit there and go from highs to lows and everything in between.
Yeah,
and just try to, you know, church does have an impact, because I would always like. I'm old enough to remember cassettes.
Yes.
It takes. So we'd hear the church singing on the cassettes. I'm like, yo, like this person's hitting this tone, this person's hitting that tone, and it just used to sound like cool to me, as opposed to like just one person singing.
That blend.
And then and then as a kid, I was like a big T-Pain fan. You know.
Yo, I say this all the time. Yo.
You feel me?
Yes.
So. Like, I would always listen to his songs and just hear him harmonize his own voice, and he's hitting the highs and lows and everything in between. So I'm like, yo, this is fire. And then Roscoe Dash got introduced to me like late middle school, and I'm like, yo, he's doing the thing that T-Pain do, but he doing it in his own way, and he got the ad-libs. So like the two of them on top of like the church like upbringing, all combined, I was like, yo, whenever I start singing, that's what I want to do. I want to layer my voice. I want to harmonize my vocals and, you know, give people that. And it didn't happen overnight.
Definitely, yeah.
I got some stuff in the SoundCloud that's like on private. That was like the earlier versions of me trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But like once I did, it's like, whew, you know.
Yeah.
Like it gives me shivers sometimes. I hit the playback and I'm like, oh, did that.
Did that make you not do stuff? I know I remember being in the studio and I would be recording,
right?
And they'd be like, yo, that sound crazy. And somebody else was in the studio one day and they're like, what is he doing? And they was like, don't worry, it's gonna get. It's gonna.
Shoot, there was one time like I was like recording. We like me and the homies, we had like booked out like the spot in PA, and we was supposed to like it was next to like a skiing joint.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, all that was closed, so we was just stuck inside with like just the games and stuff that we brought to do and whatnot. So much stuff happened that day.
Oh,
man. Not even that day, but just those. It was 3 days
in that trip.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't think I should talk about most of the stuff. But there was I brought my recording equipment. And I'm recording. And when the homegirls was like hearing me, I started with the highs. So she's like, She back there, she look skeptical. She like,
yeah, I know that. I know that look.
you know, cause she don't hear the auto tune.
Yeah.
Like she don't got the headset on.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing, it sound fire in these headsets.
Yeah.
But outside, it sound a little scary.
Yeah.
So then I start to do the mids and then the lows, and then I'm like, all right, I seen your reflection in the laptop.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and then when you see the okay, that sigh of relief let me know that you was worried.
She was worried.
You was worried.
Exactly. She was ready to go over there and be like, I don't think music's for you.
Like, yo, I've heard some of your stuff before, and this ain't one of them
This
ones.
ain't one of them ones.
You know, but like after she heard it, she was like, oh yeah, like I get it now. And I'm like, yeah, you got it. Like it's a hop and a skip. You can't just leap.
Yeah.
You know. So
how important do you feel like it is for the live performances, like for people to have, like, do you think they need to have like the auto-tune mic more so, or cause I remember I was at I was at Travis Scott concert.
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
that a lot.
Like it's too much auto-tune.
I heard T-Pain break it down like this. He was like, yo, I do all my performances with no auto-tune because the auto-tune in the mic, auto-tune is supposed to take in one voice and
come
work
out
on
of
that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's one voice, right? And it's supposed to come out on the other side, auto-tune.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine you're on stage surrounded by thousands or hundreds of people, and it's a bunch of their voices going into this microphone on top of yours. So it comes out a little, like if you notice when people perform with auto-tune mic, their voice don't sound the same auto-tune the way it did on the actual record they're performing. It'll sound different, you know? So once he said that, I was like, yeah, nah, and it's as far as like craft, like, or not craftsmanship, but is it showmanship? It's just like, yo, like because of people like T-Pain, I'm like, all right, find a way to make sure that when I'm outside of the studio, I sound relatively close to how I sound on the record. Yeah. So even though like I love auto-tune, again, because of T-Pain, like I gotta make sure if I'm singing something, it sounds very close to how I sing. Because when I go on stage and perform, I need to sound very close because you will get clowned if you don't.
You will get, yes.
You know?
Yes.
So,
did you go through the phase? Because I went through the phase of using auto-tune early on, and people were like, wow, you're using auto-tune? To everybody using auto-tune. And you're like, come on.
Trust me. I actually started without it.
Yeah.
And had to do without it for a good while until it was available, and I'm like, oh yeah, now we can really cook, you know. So because I had to do without it for so long, it made me have to like really like work with my voice as an instrument, and that's really what I do. Like treat my voice as an instrument and just try to make sure I master as much as I can with it as far as tones. Like, okay, if I were to sing this on this song at this level, how would this translate to a live performance? Would it translate? Because if not, I gotta change how I sing it on this record. You know, because
that's important.
It's very important. As the past year, I've been doing that, like performances like every month, and it's the first time I've like been doing this. You know, like that. I've performed before. This from December 2023 up until like recent day. I've been just performances back to back, and
starting to notice, starting to pick at it, starting to be like, wait,
yeah, like I'm the type of person, I'll go when it start, I'll go when the showcase start or when the open mic start, whatever the event is, I'll go when it begin, and I'll stay there to the very end, and I'll see everybody perform, and I'll just take note, like, okay,
this will work.
He got winded, or okay,
yep.
This I could hear the backtrack. And
yep.
It don't sound like how they sound right now.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that don't work. This, you know, and just try to learn as much as I can. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people
Mm-hmm.
perform a song. The song is playing in the background, like with all the vocals and stuff like that, and you'll hear what the song would sound like, and then you hear them on the mic, and it don't sound the same.
I just made a clip about that
Mm-hmm.
because it was like I guess the big thing is a lot of artists don't even practice. So then you seeing them and you like, yo, I might as well had just watch you stand up there while the MP3 was playing. Like,
It's funny. 9 times out of 10, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I notice a lot of people don't really know their lyrics either.
Yeah.
And it's I've seen that a lot where people was like literally like on stage, they got the microphone
mm-hmm.
and the song playing with all the vocals, and they like,
it's like they stopped and listened to it too. They like
they jamming.
Yeah.
They get and they ad-libbing the song. I'm like, no, let the song ad-lib. You was supposed to be doing the main vocals.
Ad-libbing your song while performing is nuts.
They just start jumping around, they get lit, and they're like, yeah, turn up. And you just hear the in the background, but because like nobody be doing sound check, the speakers be all muddy, and yet you're trying to hear what the song actually sound like, but you mainly get in the bass and the 808s. And it's just, oh man, it's so terrible. Do sound check, guys. Go pull up early, do sound check. But
if they have it, a lot of places don't even have a sound check.
That is true. That is true.
They be like, nah, we ain't doing no sound check. However it sound when you get up here, it's how it sound. Shout out to you too. You had a very high energy performer, and it definitely was like entertain. Please entertain the people in the audience. Like y'all there to entertain. Like that's you're an entertainer. Like
it's literally in the name.
Yeah.
It's show business.
Yeah.
You have to have showmanship.
Put on a show.
Like literally, as an up-and-coming artist that very few people know about, I can say it straight, right? Right now, right? Because it's gonna be very different very soon, you know. But as of right now, I can tell everybody that's on the same level or below, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Tell them to the camera too.
Nobody cares. There is so much other stuff that they can be listening to and they can be doing that they just need one excuse to do.
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
You have to give them a reason to care. The high school popularity hat, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
The clout you got into, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
When you get on stage, you have to reintroduce yourself. You can't go on there acting like everybody know you. Mm-hmm. Even if some of the people do, nobody cares.
Nobody.
So
I'm glad. Yes.
You gotta step into every room fresh.
Yes.
And make yourself known to the people, you know. And your first impression is always important, because if somebody sees what you do and it's lackluster because they don't care,
mm-hmm.
you're 9 times out of 10, nobody's gonna ask what your gram is, mm-hmm. or what your Spotify is, where your music is at, what's
mm-hmm.
your Instagram. They're not like that. As soon as you get off stage, you're gonna be sitting there and you're gonna be like, all right, this buns, I'm going home. And you're gonna go home and you're gonna have the same 500 followers you had when you pulled up to that joint. You know, and that's another thing too. People got a network, bro. People don't network.
I just talked about this in a clip, yo. Go ahead and talk about it though,
because people don't like it. It irks me every time I see people. They pull up with their group of friends. They pull up with their squad. They go and they do the show. They do the whole thing, or they ad-libbing the song. They're not even performing the song. They get on there to be like, yeah, follow me on IG. It's underscore little money underscore period 87 yeah, and then you're like what? You're like, and then you say if you did like the song, you didn't like the performance, but you did like the song. You looking for the person, go get the ground, and you realize them gone.
Yeah.
Long time. Like they left, their crew left, they left.
They didn't even stay behind.
Right after they perform, they leave.
What was the purpose of you doing the show? I just be wanting to know. You didn't even have anybody record.
Yo, could I steal
So
one?
you did
You never have to leave your yard. Like, what was the point? What was the point? Yeah, come outside.
Yeah.
For fresh air, and that's it.
So that's it. That's
like,
it.
You don't meet nobody, you don't grow, and you had the same 500 followers you had when you pulled up to that joint. You have to stay, talk to everybody. There's gonna be people that won't feel it's necessary to approach you until the very end when the lights cut on.
Yep.
It'll be photographers that be like, "Yo, man, I got footage of you. Let me get you again so I can send it to you."
They can't even find you.
They can't even find you. And because he was like, yeah, man, underscore 87, like, and you got these crazy IG names that don't match your stage name, so they can't find you easily. And all that stuff is just going in the wind. Eventually, they're just going to delete it because they need space on their hard drives and on their SD cards. You know, there's going to be people that probably would have liked to work with you that could have probably like took your thing to a next level or whatever the case may be, and they can't find you because you left.
Just collaboration, just something.
You had to talk to people, even like, you know, like what we're doing here, right? As we've known about each other and met each other before today.
Yeah.
You know, but
couple years, it's probably like 7 years ago too. That's the crazy part.
a long time, right? So but I probably wouldn't have been sitting here if I left right after I performed the other night.
You performed.
Because I saw that you was there after the performances was over. And it was like, okay, back to the arcade.
Yeah.
You know? So people, you have to stay. Because if you don't, nobody cares.
Nobody,
They're not going to hunt you down to go find you and be like, yo, what's homie this and that? Like, nobody cares. And
what I was just saying too, I was literally just talking about this. When somebody comes up to you after and they be like, hey, I loved your performance, saying, oh, thank you, and leaving it at that is nasty work.
Yeah.
It's nasty work.
It makes you come off as like you like above.
You're not
somebody.
about to say, oh, hey, you follow me on Instagram. Like, I have a new project out. Check it out. Nothing.
No, you like the people. Somebody came out of their way to say something that make you feel special.
Yes.
And you like that's like a girl saying I love you, and you be like word. Like it's like, yo, you like that's make funny. Them feel so, like me. Somebody come to me, they be like, yo, you did great. Oh, your performance was dope. I'm like, oh man, appreciate it. Dap them up, bring them in, slap them, pat them on the back. They say if it's a girl, give her a handshake, a little bow. I'm like, I appreciate that. Put your hand on your heart. You know what I mean? Make it feel sincere. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, you on social media? Let's connect. Let's work. Or let me get you on the gram. You know what I mean? And I do that. You know, because 9 times out of 10, if you like what I do, then if you like what you saw on stage, 9 times out of 10, you'll like the music that I make.
Yes. Which
means I need to now get you over to that music.
Yes.
So that way you can stream the songs.
Yes.
And I could get the numbers up. I get some money going. You know what I mean? Because if I don't do that, then again, I'm at the same 500 people I pulled up with.
Get the same. What was the point of performance?
It was, you know what I mean? So a lot of times that's how I do it. I make sure everybody that approach me, I interact them. And there's people that I approach first. Especially if I see them on stage, I'm like, oh, yo, bro, you did your thing. Your energy, yo, let me get you on the ground. You follow each other. And the numbers go, every showcase, it goes up, whether 10, 15, 20, 25. Just by that. You have to be social. The whole antisocial thing, that's like really what like I hear is like a big complaint in dancehall artists right now. That's like everybody's
artists,
like
period.
Artists in general, period. Especially rappers. But like everybody's on this like antisocial thing. And as the biggest example we could see that the opposite works better is Vybz Kartel. As soon as he come out of prison, he's everywhere talking to everybody, being present. You know, and he's running the place doing that, you know, like like most of the news that come out of dancehall right now, 9 times out of 10, he's 8 out of the 10. You feel me? So
network,
network, be present, be social, because personality runs things now.
Yes.
You know, like the
It's
whole
connections now. It's connection. How are you connecting with people?
Yeah, like people. I think I had went to a seminar, right? It's the game of the gods because it wasn't spelled God. It was like GAWDS, right? Game of the gods, or wait, or was it J? No, I think it was GAU. I don't remember, but shout out to Ray Daniels, shout out to Dame, and shout out to homegirl Nala Simone, right? So it was their seminar, and it was pretty much how to take your music career to the next level. It was in New York, right? And one of the things that they pointed out within the seminar was crap, yo. I actually lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You was talking about the seminar, and one of the things that
before the seminar, I brought it up because of something I said right before the seminar.
Networking.
Personality. Okay, boom. I remember. Right.
Connections. Yeah.
Yeah. So personality. Right. Ray Daniels did this thing. He was like, "Yo, everybody, pull out your phone. We gonna do this exercise. We gonna ask one person at a time." That's Instagram. We all going to search this Instagram up and we gonna audit it. Let's look. Let's dissect it and see what's good about it. Right. Raise my hand. They chose me first. Look at my stuff. And he was like, one of the things he told me, he was like, I could see a problem off rip. Everything you got is promo. Ain't no like stuff that like connect like relatively. Like who are you? What are your pillars and stuff like that. Everything is new song. New EP, new project, new performance, new showcase, new show. You know what I mean? It was like just promo. It was like people fall in love with if they fall in love with your personality, they gonna love whatever product come with it. You know, that's how we fell in love with people like Cardi B. You know, we fell in love with her personality, and then she gave us music, and it was like we already loved her, so we loved it off rip. You know, so
this is true.
Stuff like that. So stuff like this, you know, is, you know, important for me to do. And I find it important, you know, for artists to do this because if people don't know who you are, it makes it hard for them to care. Because guess what? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, definitely. Because, like, even with, like, it be small stuff, too. You, like, talk about, oh, yeah, being in the choir. Like, that little bit of relatability. And it's like, oh, yo, I was scared to be in the front at the choir, da-da-da. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the small things that you take. Like, oh, yo, I enjoy, like, certain animes, too. I didn't even know you like that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a lot of... That's
where the fan base got to be able to relate to you. Some of the people with the most diehard fans are diehard fans of people because of the stuff they say in the music, because of the relatability. You know what I mean? Like, they be like, oh, you said something that made me think of my childhood, or this dark time that got me out of this and the third. Like, you got to be able to connect. And a lot of people aren't that personal with their music. So... if that's not your style with music, because everybody don't need to do that, some people can't do that, you have to be able to connect outside of the music, you know. So
streamers are streaming.
They are, and people like Kai Cenat, you know, big up him. Like, you know, the personality is there, it's vibrant. You know, anytime you see him out, you want him to win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You do.
Like, people like that, you don't want to fail. When he win, it feels like you win too, you know?
Yeah.
So...
And that's how you want people to feel.
Right, you know? And if you come off as cocky or arrogant or like you bigger than people, or, you know, like the same way as you said, like, you're like, oh, you did good, word.
That main character syndrome, yo, let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
It's not going. People not going to relate to you like that. It's going to be some, but it's not going to be the diehard people that's going to be pulling up to your shows that aren't free.
Yep.
Because most showcases aren't free.
They're not.
People have to spend their hard-earned money. It's a lot of tariffs going on right now.
Yeah.
Things ain't cheap. The cost of living is about to skyrocket. So you got to take it in perspective. People gotta spend money that they worked hours to make. They gotta drive and burn gas to come see you at these places, right?
Yeah.
If they got kids, they gotta find a babysitter. You know, if They got work. They gotta line it up, their schedule. Ask the boss for this day off, for it to open this day, or to be here at this time. Leave early. This and the third. Like it's so much stuff that go into having free time to come see you, right? If you're a performer. So if somebody that's why I make sure I try my best to put it all on the stage when I'm up.
Yep.
Because I know that you don't have to be here, and it's a blessing that you are, because you could look at anybody that's promoting a showcase 9 times out of 10, or any event, whether it's a party or whatever. Those posts are usually the posts that get the least engagement.
Nobody cares about those.
Nobody cares. Like a girl that does music can post a picture of her body, run it up, thousands of likes, thousands of comments, and then the next post is not only a song, but she's saying like, "Hey, I'm about to be performing at such and such club," and it be crickets.
Yep.
And the engagement's not gonna look the same. And then the next post again, she do a selfie, back up to her, back up to the thousands. Like I see it all the time, bro. Yep. So it's one of them things where like me as somebody that don't have, much of a following or much of an audience that's like working on building one, is like seeing how people further than me have to deal with it. It's like, so who would I be to think that I could just be like, all right, post this and everybody gonna show up and I could do whatever and they gonna come back every time. Like, no, no, you gotta give people something good to look at.
What am I giving?
Yeah.
What am I giving?
What's your reason for doing this? Do you even love to do this?
Yeah.
I noticed like some people don't like performing.
That and you talked a lot about that throughout this whole thing. It's purpose, actually loving what you're doing, like being into it. And that's some people ain't into it.
Some people ain't. Intention has like become like a very big word for me the past year. There was a book I didn't physically read it. I like Audible.
Okay.
Cause I be working with my hands and stuff like that. So I just sit and listen to stuff. So it's a book called The Defining Decade, and it pretty much breaks down how your 20s is very important. They start really establishing all the stuff that you want out of life. Because if you wait till your 30s, things get a little harder. You wanted kids, your biological clock might be ticking on you. You know what I mean? You wanted to get married, to find significant other. Now the dating pool's smaller. You wanted a certain job. The time that you could have took to train and prepare for that kind of job, now
push further.
You're in a harder spot in life that requires certain money that takes away from the time that you could put into train for that. You know what I mean? So things will get harder in your 30s and stuff like that. So the book was and it was it hammered that point down, like, yo, be intentional. And that's why like I make sure like every time I perform, like one of the things I do on the way to a show, whatever song that's in my set, I just have it like have them replaying and just recite the lyrics from front to back. If I mess up, rewind. Rewind. Don't even keep going. Because if you keep going, that's you're pretty much accepting that mistake, and you should aim for none. Even though there might be some, nobody's perfect, but you should aim for none.
For the most part, if you practice to the point where,
Yeah, usually, like, that's what I do. And I don't just wait till the last minute because that's messy, right? I'll usually do it throughout the week before, and just keep it going. Sometimes, like, I'll run and recite lyrics to make sure I get my wind up, you know what I mean? So, shout out to my godfather, God rest his soul. Rest in peace to Wayne Riggins. He told me, he was like, yo, you got to make sure your respiratory system is good, you're doing your cardio and stuff like that, because you don't want to be on stage and sound winded.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty times I see people that are like, woo, and they that's after their first song. And they got 2 more. You feel me?
Sweating bullets, grabbing a water bottle, looking like they about to pass out.
Yeah, so now I ain't gonna knock the water bottle because I'll do that.
No, but they be looking like they about to pass out.
Yeah.
No, I got the water bottle too. My throat be getting hella dry. Just be like,
Yeah, but but you see me when I do it, I earned
you
it.
earned that water. You definitely earned the water.
You feel me? So
that's funny.
So yeah, I'll jog, do my stuff, or like I'll be working out and like reciting lyrics.
Yeah.
I used to have a membership there, Sporta. They would have these rooms. I switched to 24 hours now. They just open later. But Sporta would have these box rooms with a glass door that have like super strong acoustics where like if you were to like sing out loud,
Yeah.
it'll be very similar to you singing on a microphone in a club
That's
or
dope.
a small little venue.
Yeah.
So I would be in there like practice whatever moves I'm about to do and like sing out loud as if I'm like on a mic, you know?
Yeah.
Like top of my lungs and just see like, okay, this tone of voice works. This tone of voice gets raspy. I'm gonna probably lose my voice if I do this too hard. Let me try to, you know what I mean? And I just practice that out. So I take it very seriously.
It's a lost art for a lot of for the majority, because it's so many artists. It's so many artists, but it's just a lot of artists that just don't take it. They don't care about it.
Yeah, the entry point has been lowered, so like it's one of like it's become a thing that kind of seems like you don't really need to care about it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the big leagues, or you just get anywhere further than your local, open mic shop, and you realize like, oh, nobody cares. So it's something I take seriously, because again, like if I want to be with the greats, if I want to be on these big stages, award shows, showing people what I do and what I care about, I have to care about every aspect of the form.
That's why I was just you got anything coming up this year?
Well, so far the nearest thing right now is the homie Mars MTB. He got a deluxe to a project of his coming out Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I got a joint on there.
Okay.
I had the beat sitting in my vault for a minute, and he was like, "Yo, send me some." I recorded a hook, sent him a snippet. He was like, "Yo, send this to me ASAP." I'm like, "Hold on, let me lay my verse down first."
Yeah.
Sent that. So that should be dropping Valentine's Day within the next 10 days or so. I got a couple singles that I will drop within the next 2-3 months.
Okay.
All right, collaborations with the homies. Shout out to Sav, shout out to Ali. So yeah, those is coming. But based off of those singles and what the outcome is like, will help me determine what the next EP will look like.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm also actively trying to figure out what songs could be on the next EP. I want to keep doing like out and about EPs until I get like a certain amount, and I'm like, okay, I could look at each one and be like, all right, these songs work, and take those and make the out and about album.
That's dope.
You feel me? So yeah, that's there will be an EP probably by the end of spring.
Okay.
Probably by the end of spring, early summer the latest.
So we looking June.
By June, all the college people came out already.
So
when you want summer joints, you gotta drop the end of spring. You gotta drop in spring if you want a summer joint.
So wait. So May. We looking at May.
I'ma aim for April. I'ma aim for April. Yeah. And depending on how bad I procrastinate, it might be May. And if I end up waiting on people, like I said, I'll be trying not to do it. It might end up being June, but somewhere within that time frame. Once it start to get hot, I mean, we're warm and it's hot all the time. Yeah. Snow about to be extinct. Like,
hey, Georgia ain't feeling like that.
Oh yeah, nah, they about to get that. But as far as us, like it's only a couple times. Well, but yeah, bro. So around that time frame,
okay,
people should be expecting another out and about EP. Or I had a concept in mind, like Heart of Gold EP. Might like show people a little bit more of who I am as a person. I feel like they need that, So either or, but a project will come.
Okay,
our project will come.
Okay,
so
we're getting a project this year.
Yeah, Temptation is out now though. First drop of the year.
Hey.
I've been trying to get in touch with one of the producers, Rushan. That's a big the dancehall producer and whatnot. So I'm like shooting just aimless shots. Like, yo, you see me? All right, next song. You see me yet? And I'm just taking like rhythms of his and just
going at it,
just voicing on them. Because you know, like with dancehall, one of the things that we do is like the juggling culture, where like you have a rhythm, which is, you know, a beat, and multiple artists would voice on the rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you'll have one song for each artist, but they're all using the same beat.
Yeah, I remember my dad had an album, and it was like 12 songs on the album, and it was
Yeah.
just a different person on each song. And I was like, oh, this is dope.
But
same
it's the
beat.
same
It was the
beat
same
the
beat
whole
for 12,
time.
just different takes on
And
it.
you know why they do that? Why juggling culture is so important for a DJ, right? And people, y'all need to don't sleep on your DJs. The DJs are some of the most important people. The DJ
Yeah.
can have a whole set off of just one song. So you can go from doom 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 doom. She said, "Please, Mister, please." And then she scream when the breast gets squeezed, and you go from, "Oh my friend, take pride in your panty." Then they bring your friend down, Randy and Ashanti. You go from there, and then you could go from that to doing one of yourself if you want to just do the instrumental, and then you could go from like you could
keep that same
next
rhythm
songs,
going,
but keep the same rhythm.
and just going.
The BPM don't gotta change.
Yeah.
But it's a different song, so it feels different, but it's not completely different. So you can have like a 15-minute, 10-minute set just with the same vibe without switching it too much.
Yeah.
Because with regular hip hop or regular R&B, you'll have
synchronization is very different.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the same. Like when you switch to the next song, the vibe's gonna be different. You know, even if the BPM is the same, the vibe gonna be different. But with juggling culture and dancehall, you can keep the vibe going. You know,
because that's the atmosphere that's set for it. It's very
you could go from one song to the next, and it all has the same song. Like, she drive me crazy, on and on. You know what's on that beat? I don't really care what people say. I don't really watch what them want do. So nothing go so. And you'll have all of that on the same rhythm. So it's different songs, different lyrics, different melodies, but it's all on the same rhythm. So you could still keep dancing in the same pace you was going
same
before.
type of
So I've been playing around with, you know, the rhythms that I see that's like buzzing in the culture, and I'm like, all right, let me see what I sound like on this and try that, you know. So I'm, you know, if anybody has any recommendations, do hit me up. If you got a connection,
shoot them.
Let me know, because I'm willing to take a jab at anything right now. I really want to break into dancehall and just put us back at the forefront.
Hey,
you know?
Moving with purpose, guys. Ryuu Richy here, the dragon.
Yes.
Let them know where to find you at too. Like all the handles, I know they all the same.
They all the same. So whether you're looking for me on Apple Music, whether you're looking for me on Spotify, whether you're looking for me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you know, PlayStation Network, I always do it like this at the shows. I'm like RYU and then another U. RICHY. I say it again. I said RYU and then another U. RICHY. It's Ryuu Richy. You feel me? Everywhere.
Hey, on this one, Dell. We out.
Yes, sir. Got a red cup on me, but I ain't drunk. When you hear the song, you gotta let the bass bump. Itchy in the party, about to make the place jump. 2 passports through, so this is ship I'm touring. Shorty right up as he in the whip, both foreign. Man, I wish I had my rag on me. Yeah.
Baby, I'm on go. Shorty on go, while the homies on go. When you hear that beat, then that mean